Alright, so low-key, I've kind of been excited for the Star Wars Hunters game. I know it's a free-to-play game, it's a hero shooter. These are a lot of things that are either red flags or just big no's for me. But with Star Wars, I have a really low bar. And really, the price of admission for a Star Wars game into my catalog of gaming is a Mandalorian or Boba Fett. If you can be Boba Fett, I'm buying your game, or at the very least, checking it out. I just feel like Boba Fett and the Mandalorians, the bounty hunters, none of them are really appreciated like they should. Oh, let's talk about Star Wars Hunters, but before we do, please hit that like and subscribe button. It means the world to me, and I really appreciate each and every one of you who do that. So, as we were saying before, we got rudely interrupted by the pandering of, please subscribe, I need more subscribers. I really like Boba Fett. I like the Mandalorians and the bounty hunters, and I feel like Star Wars never does anything with them. Is it just me? Am I on an island here when I say, like, those are my favorite characters? I never really liked any of the Jedi or any of the other people, but you allow me to play as Boba Fett or a bounty hunter? I'm definitely in. So yeah, after seeing the trailer for this game, I think like a year ago, and there being a Mandalorian type character, I knew I had to check it out. And that leads to a good thing and a bad thing with this game. And the good thing being that, yeah, there is like a lot of different characters. There's bounty hunters, there's a Boba Fett like dude. Unfortunately though, he is locked, or whatever they are, is locked behind a battle pass. And I don't know if some of you maybe can answer this question for me. Does Overwatch have a battle pass? Because I know like a majority of these hero shooters end up having a battle pass. And so I wasn't really surprised when it did. It did bother me that like the main character was locked behind it. But again, not super surprised. It's a quote unquote free game. But what I was surprised by is how many of the characters I actually did like. Now, towards the end of the video, I am going to touch back on the battle pass. This is kind of important. But I want to talk about these other characters as they all have a different job. You know, there's tanks, there's strikers, there's support, and you do play each position differently. But if I'm being honest, the majority of the characters are really enjoyable. I mean, I really enjoyed playing as the Wookiee, who's like a big tank, and you just rush through and just pound people with these clubs that you have. Or even Irma Virex, which is like the first character you can unlock. She's like easy mode, because she's just so easy to win with. Like, I don't know how I can say it, but it just like the gunplay with her is very simple and fluid. The movement is really fast. Everything really works well with that character. But I think you do feel that way because when you first start playing, they'll bring you into matches which are, I think, quote unquote online. I don't think they're really online. And I'll tell you why, because my first like 10 matches, I dominated the leaderboards. Now, that's not normal for me at all in any of these type of games, namely because, well, they're brand new to me, and you have to know the maps, and you have to know how characters play. And so for me to be consistently towards the top of the leaderboards tells me that this isn't real, and they're just sort of giving you a soft landing. But even after I got into battles that I knew I was playing against real people, there was other things that I was looking for, namely performance, and honestly, performs really well, surprisingly well. Like, I couldn't believe how well the game was responding, and I had no lags, I had no issues, no frame rate issue, like none of those things that would be a major issue in an online game. They weren't there. But I can tell you too, one of the other issues is character selection. As I was saying, you get really comfortable with this first character, Irma Virex, or whatever her name is. But essentially the way the game works is no one can be the same character. So I think as you unlock more characters and you level up, you get a, I don't know, maybe like a bottom of the draft picking when it comes to playing characters. So you're almost automatically supposed to choose the last character you unlocked, and that can put you in a place, especially if the last one kind of sucked. And I was there for quite a while with I can't remember the character's name, but she's like a support role. Yeah, not successful at all with this character. And so that had me thinking maybe when I was dominating with that main character, that first character, a lot of other people were actually just playing as characters they didn't want to be, or they were sort of trapped in because of the game's mechanics. And that's why I felt like I was doing so well. Honestly, I don't know. What I can say is though is I switched characters when I could, and I did really good with all the other characters that I wanted to play as, like the Wookiee, for instance, or there's this really badass stormtrooper. Basically every other character besides the one that I was being, which is, again, I can't remember her name. It's like Zane something, but I don't know. She's awful. And, I mean, her role is being support, and I don't know how to play support. I should say that. But I think that whatever character you choose or whatever position you pick, if you know how to play that position, you can be really good. Because most of the game is actually more like capture the flag than it is like just pure deathmatch. You can choose different modes as you unlock them, but they also sort of choose them for you pretty early on. And again, this game's only been out for like 12 hours here for me, but I have played more than 20 matches, so I feel like I can speak somewhat on how the quality of the game is. And this video is just like a first thoughts type thing on this game. But what I can tell you from my experience has been, like with the performance, match finding is also really easy, really fast. They get you into a game as quickly as you can blink an eye, honestly, which is incredibly surprising, because there again, I know that that's another big thing for a lot of online games is performance and matchmaking. And if those two things have a problem in them, then you might as well just wipe the game out. But they were ready for this. When this game was being developed, and I think was even delayed a little bit, I think by about 6 months, I can see like maybe this is why, because they wanted to make sure that the matchmaking was on point and that the game performed well. And it definitely does do both of those things, honestly. And really, I was surprised by the Switch's capabilities that it was able to play as well as it does, not having, well, any issues, like I said, or very, very, very few. Now, there is no running, this game isn't super fast-paced, but still, there's so many Switch games that have a lot of frame rate problems and a lot of other issues, so for it to not have those, this speaks volumes to what they were doing. Well, is this game worth your time? That was one of the big questions that we were going to answer, and honestly, I think so. Like, at least to give it a shot. I'm not saying you should invest money into it, or you should, decide like your life's going to be about Star Wars Hunters, but to give it a shot, yeah, I think it's definitely worth a try. Now, again, if you adamantly hate hero shooters or online shooters, then maybe pass on this one. Although, even if you're just somewhat interested, you should definitely give it a shot, because I think you'll have more fun with it than you thought you would. Now, one thing about the battle passes I said I was going to talk about, and this is very important, I don't recommend trying to buy the battle pass right now. As I said before, I am a simp for anything Mandalorian / Boba Fett, and seeing that Mandalorian character was behind the battle pass, I thought, you know what, $10 is worth it. And the thing to note is, the more you play as a character, the more you can upgrade them. So I wanted to get in and be that Mandalorian as early as possible so I could upgrade him. Well, I tried buying it 3 different times, and all 3 times it failed. Oh, I was like, okay, well, no big deal. I guess I'll try later on. Well, then I looked at my Nintendo account, and I was charged for 3 different purchases at $9.99. Now, I do think that this will resolve itself because they are pending. It hasn't technically came out of the bank account yet. I do think it's gonna find a way to fix itself, if not just totally refund my money. And I have faith in that, because for the many faults that the eShop has, they've always been good about stuff like that for me. Even when I've gotten a card that didn't work right, they've just outright gave me the credit. And this has happened multiple times. I've even had some cards where I accidentally scratched the letters off. It was really easy to just get that money credited to my account. So I imagine this problem will get ironed out even before I have to do anything about it, because that's just usually how it works out. This has happened to me a few times where I purchased something, even like a game, and it charged me like 2 or 3 times, and then it never even went through. It was just pending. So yeah, I think it's going to be okay, but I will definitely keep you updated on that. And for right now, I would advise not purchasing the Battle Pass until we know that it will work and you will get what you paid for and you won't get charged multiple times. Now, granted, it didn't charge me multiple times after I tried purchasing once. It was me who kept trying to purchase it, so there is that, but anyway, that's just my thoughts on Star Wars Hunters. Please let me know if you guys are interested in it, if this is something that you've been looking forward to or something you've just kind of thought about. Anything and everything down in the comment section is much appreciated. I love each and every one of you guys. In the comment section, I will also keep you updated on this whole Battle Pass situation if you're curious, and I'll do an update on this video if enough people seem to care. But anyway, take care everyone. Bye-bye.